Hi guys, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Srinidhee?
I'm doing good too.
Okay, so everyone's doing good today. We're gonna get started with some quick rapid fire questions, or they take some thinking. So I'm gonna call them medium fire questions. But first question is, what are your guys' favorite books slash series and why?
Okay, I'll go first. So my favorite series is the These Violent Delights duology. So it's basically a modern day retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in 1920 Shanghai. And it's really good because it's like enemies to lovers. And it also has a lot of Chinese culture incorporated in it. So yeah, highly recommend.
You should recommend that to the Chinese club. Okay, and Trinity?
I also love that series, but currently, recently I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, so I'm sure you guys maybe have heard about it. It's also remaked into like a live action on Amazon Prime. But the series is basically like a love triangle between a girl and two brothers. And it's like a really cute, like summer beachy romance kind of book. So highly recommend as well and watch the show.
Okay. So then mine would be the School for Good and Evil, and I've been wanting to finish it. I'm pretty sure there's a cliffhanger. I think there's 6 books, but I lost the last one. I'm still trying to find it. But it's also a love triangle with two best friends and a guy. Yeah, there's a lot of magic. It's a world full of witches and traveling dimensions, so that's fun. Okay. Next question is, if you were to eat a snack right now, what would it be?
I would eat Cheez-Its.
Why? Do you have it near you?
No, I don't have any at home, but I really want them.
Like cheeses too. Okay, Trinity, what about you?
Talkies.
Oh, I haven't eaten that in like 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And
We
I would,
got them recently. So
oh,
good.
really? Okay.
Mhm.
Which flavor? Or are they all the same flavor? I don't really know.
Just the regular ones, like the red ones, not the blue ones.
Oh, I've seen people make blue spaghetti out of that.
I know, I have too on TikTok all the time, like or YouTube, and I'm like, oh, interesting.
Okay. Next one is, what are lists, as an lists, used for slash made for?
Like to-do lists?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, so I use to-do lists like every single day. Like I need them in my life. I use Notion and yeah, I think it's really satisfying to like check the box. And if it's not checked, then I move it to the next day.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just use it to like organize my life, make sure that I don't forget that I have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. When I use notes, I think I do it at night. I think I take like up to 40 minutes to make my to-do list for the whole day. And I put the time and then I put what I want to do, and I don't bring it to the next day. I just don't finish.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that too. Like just lists in general are like really helpful for me too, considering like typically I have like a lot of things that I need to do, but I don't really set times. I found that that just really does not work for me. I cannot commit to like timing. As long as I get it done with satisfaction, just like crossing it out is like really nice. So really
Yeah.
important for sure.
Okay. Next one is, okay, I had this question because I asked my parents the other day, how adult are you? And my my mom was like, what kind of question is that? So basically, from the scale of 0 to 100, where do you think you lie?
Is it like age? Like 0 to 100?
No, not age. It's like it kind of includes like how much experience you have in your life, how mature you are, what you haven't experienced yet.
Mm.
So like how far in life do you think you've gotten, pretty much?
So like 100 is like mature adult.
Yeah, where you have nothing else to do, you already experienced everything you need to.
I would say I'm at like a 47 out of 100. I feel like I'm still pretty immature. Like I love to do like weird random things and like sometimes I make very irresponsible decisions, but I feel like for me, I am growing up right now. I'm 16. I got my driver's license, so I'm maturing into adulthood, But yeah, I still feel like I have a long way to go before I learn everything.
Same. I feel like I just put myself at 40. I didn't even get that specific. I think I don't know a lot of things. I want to be more aware. I still don't drive, but that's not the biggest part. Yeah, but definitely a lot to go. How about you, Srinidhee? Where on the scale are you?
Pretty low. I was gonna say 37.5. I'll be really specific. I am very immature. My parents constantly remind me about that. Like I make a lot of bad decisions too. Still learning, but I am growing up too. I got my driver's license last year. So like driving gives me like a sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm like old and like kind of gonna become an adult really soon. So like even though I'm like aging, like mentally, I always still feel like I'm like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. And there's a lot I want to experience in life. Like there's a lot of things that I want to do and kind of just explore the world. So I think that I have a long life ahead of me, hopefully. So yeah.
Okay, the last part of this beginning that's not related to the actual topic is matching a food to a place or concept. So for example, if I think about science, I might think about a blue sponge cake. So I'm going to give Srinidhee the first one, living room. What kind of
This
food?
one was really difficult. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know what a living room reminds me of. For some reason, I thought of a white double-decker wedding cake. That's what I thought of.
Normal for a casual place where people just lounge.
Oh,
Wedding
okay. Well, you can make a wedding cake like a lounge cake too.
Yeah, you can decorate it however you want. Okay, next one is Makayla. What food do you think about when you think about a playground?
I think of apple juice, like the little boxes with the straws. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like apple juice just goes with kids, and I love apple juice and I love playgrounds too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think about M&M cookies just because playgrounds are so colorful.
Yeah.
I said something really similar. I said rainbow ice cream. It's
Ooh.
like the colorfulness.
Mm-hmm. Then what about an office? Like a work office. If there's so many colors in a playground, then what about the work office? What food is that?
Mm.
Shanity, what do you think?
Plain vanilla cake. Just no toppings, no like whipped cream, just plain white vanilla.
So you lose all your color the older you get. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay, next one, Makayla, disappointment.
Brussels sprouts. I hate Brussels sprouts. And
I hate Brussels sprouts too. I
disappointment.
agree with that.
I don't know. There's a correlation between disappointment and green. So yeah.
Okay.
I was going like black tone, so I went black forest, but yeah.
Ooh, Black Forest
Why
cake.
are all of yours cake?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I was in the cake mood.
Okay, something that's not a cake. What do you think about when you think about the future? Not a cake.
The future Sour Patch.
Our brush.
Because like sour and sweet, right? Life is sour and sweet, but you gotta always look at the positives.
Smart.
Because at the end, your Sour Patch is always sweet. The sour is always first, and then it's sweet. Yeah, I thought about that really in depth.
I didn't think about it. Okay. I think the future reminds me of blankness. So an egg. I don't know. just no color, but kind of color inside. Okay, anyways, let's get into the actual discussion. So I asked you guys, have you ever been told you're doing it or whatever it is the wrong way?
Are we supposed to answer?
Yeah, that's the question. Okay, here. I'll give an example. So basically, I think ever since I can remember, I've been eating pizza with the crust first. And then I work down. So a lot of people hold it by the crust. Yeah, but that's one thing. And another thing was apparently a lot of my friends don't cook rice paper when they go to Korean barbecue. But I've been growing up cooking it. So that's just how I eat things. Okay. Your guys' turn.
Okay, this is a hard question, but I also eat pizza that way. Like I
Me
peel off
too.
the crust and then I dip it in sauce and then I eat it and then I hold like the bread part at the top and then I eat it. What else? Um, I have to have sauce with everything. Like either like ketchup, sriracha, any sauce, soy sauce. Like I have to have sauce with everything. Like I hate plain things. Um, Trinity, go.
Doing it the wrong way. Oh, okay. Well, apparently it's really not good to eat with your left hand, but I don't know. I eat with my left hand. My parents just like do not do that. Like, I guess there's like a cultural aspect to it, like not to like it's not really that good to eat. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty good to eat. Like, it's convenient. You have two hands. You can eat twice the amount of food with two hands. So I do that. I also guess I eat pizza the wrong way. I always eat the crust first.
Oh, nice. We found all three people in here eat it like that.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to eat the crust last. You know, like you want to save like the good part for last.
Exactly. I understand. Okay. Well, then you brought up actually culture, and that's a big thing too. Table manners or whatever phrase that is, don't yuck my yum or something like that, where there's different cultures do things different ways. You might eat with your hands, I might eat with a fork. Well, my parents want me to eat with chopsticks, different things like that. I guess that brought up, I also have other examples. Like, do you guys eat cupcakes as sandwiches, or do you just eat it how it is? How do you eat them?
I
I
just eat it
eat
as
them
it
how it
is.
is, yeah, but I've seen like how people like kind of like take the cake part and then take the bottom half and then put it on top and eat. Like that's pretty cool. You don't get your hands as dirty. That's pretty smart.
If you get your hands dirty while you're trying to make it. Yeah. Okay. So next question I have for you is, what if you are doing something wrong and you realize it? Like, what do you do?
Like what kind of thing wrong? Like is it like a serious thing?
Well, it depends. However you interpret the question. Like, let's say what? I'm eating something wrong. I just keep doing it. or in another case, you admit it or you stop. Like, I don't know. It's a general question.
Okay, for me, I don't admit my mistakes.
Mhm.
Like I just like if I'm like eating something wrong, I just like get embarrassed. Like my face turns red, but then I just keep eating it. I'm like, okay. Like I don't really like see anything wrong with that. But then if it's like a serious thing, like I drive too close to like the other side or something, then I like I don't know. I feel like I have a hard time admitting my mistakes. And like when I'm with my parents, I'm like, okay, I get it. like that. But yeah, when it's like something serious, then I like change it. But then if it's something like trivial, then I just like continue doing it.
Yeah, same. If it's something trivial, you just own it. You just make it feel like it's not out of the ordinary. It's just your normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the next thing is, do you have advice for the people who are being told that they're doing something the wrong way, or for the people who are telling other people they're doing it the wrong way? Like thoughts or something you just want to tell them.
Okay. Well, if you believe that what you're doing is, like you want to change your wrong, ways, like you want to, believe that you are doing it the wrong way, then maybe you can fix it. But like you should never change something about yourself because somebody is telling you, like I feel like you should be your own person. You shouldn't really have to listen to somebody else and then take their opinions into your mind, right? You're your own person. You should do whatever you feel that you want to do, right? You don't want to let other people influence you, especially like in a negative way. They might just be bringing you down. You don't want to like take that, personally and then try to fix something that's like not even wrong. Like it's just something that, you're doing is unique to you. So yeah, just be yourself. That's what I would say. Do your own thing.
That was a heartfelt message. I was just going to say, let it be. It makes things more interesting when everyone does things differently. But then my piece of advice was sometimes don't be too stubborn. So, for example, you're in the weight room and you're doing an exercise. If you're doing it wrong, just listen so that you don't injure yourself. So, in those kind of cases, you might be doing something wrong. But then that comes to the next question, what makes something right? So there are situations, let's just say grammar. In English, there's a bunch of grammar rules and you might be doing it wrong. I would say that's definitely like hard yes or no, like right or wrong. So what do you guys think makes something right?
I feel like it has a lot to do with like how you've grown up too. Like your parents telling you this is right and this is wrong. Obviously, there's like some obvious things like stealing is wrong, lying is wrong. Like there's more obvious things. But then I feel like when you go to school, you kind of get like a culture shock. Like there are different people with different beliefs and ideals. And I feel like as you grow up, you kind of get used to it and you kind of have to develop your own morals. So a lot of it does have to do with like the people you surround yourself with. So like obviously at Whitney, it's like there's like a lot of like people that like are very smart, you know. So I feel like it has a lot to do with the environment that you're in. And you kind of have to just decide for yourself, like, do I think this is right? And then you kind of stick with it. Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Another thing is that a lot of it, I guess like culture shock and things like that, there's trends and patterns and whatever is most common. So that could make something right. Let's just say everything I'm doing today relates to food, but this to eat a certain snack, like let's just say Takis, might be the right thing to do in some people's mind. Or if I was playing basketball, I know these are random examples, but if I was playing basketball, there people might think there's a right way to shoot, there's a wrong way. But then I did training a while ago and I found out, nope, a lot of people have different forms and some people never stick to it. I'm pretty inconsistent and I'm trying to work on shooting. But yeah, so basically, many people tend to see things out of the ordinary as wrong or weird. And that could lead to people being turned down or avoided because they're seen in such a light of being weird. So I want to touch a bit on this concept of weird. So what does weird mean? Like, how would you define it, Srinidhee?
Okay, good question. I like this question. Okay, weird typically has like a bad, like I suppose, like connotation to it, right? If somebody says like, "Oh, you're so weird," honestly, like if somebody said that to me, like I don't know, a couple of years ago, I would be a little offended, a little upset. I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong, right? But I feel like weird for me personally to develop more into like my character, my personality. I to kind of take pride in being weird. Like it's good to be, different than everyone else. That's like the whole point, right? Every human being is different. Everybody's unique in their own way. So you should like embrace that instead of having to put people down because of their differences. I feel like we should uplift that and like kind of encourage, being different than other people. So I think weird doesn't have to mean something like bad at all. It can mean something really positive, and that's like how I would take it. If somebody called me weird, I wouldn't take it in like a bad light. And more honestly, I would just kind of joke about it and be like, no, be happy about it, to be honest. Like, I'm glad.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like in the past, people always used weird as a way of insulting. And nowadays, I think so many people either just accepted it or got used to it that now it's like pretty easy to say, yeah, I'm weird. It's okay. Like you're proud of it, or okay, let's say there's another word which has a better connotation than weird, which is unique. But is that really said often? Not really. So weird is good and bad. And I was wondering, Makayla, like what things are examples of weird?
Okay, so I would describe myself as a weird person, and I would describe you two as weird people too. I feel like just like
Mhm.
unique mannerisms that you do, like for example, My sister calls me weird all the time. I don't know. I kind of like, I always joke around with her, and like we have like a very unique way of interacting. And because of that, like she calls me weird all the time. But for example, I don't take offense to it. Like I just start laughing. Like I think it's funny. So
Yeah.
I feel like to characterize someone as weird, it's like obviously they're doing something different than like the normal. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any like specific examples. Like I can't think of any right now, but I feel like for me, I take it as a compliment definitely. And like I just laugh it off. Like if someone calls me weird at school, I'm like, okay. Like I don't know. But I feel like if someone like you're not close to calls you weird, then it's kind of like you take it a different way. But
Right.
obviously if your friends call you weird, then it's like fine. But if like a stranger calls you weird, then it's kind of like, ooh, what did I do wrong? But at the same time, like, don't take so much offense to it. Yeah.
At least you can say, what is it? At least I'm weird and not, I'm weird, at least I'm not normal. That's what I'm thinking about. Basically, what's normal? It's basically you don't stand out as much. So it's fun to get that acknowledgement from your friends about how you stand out, how you're different, how you're fun, whatever you are. So if it comes from your sister who you've grown up with every single day and she still calls you weird, I think that's fun. So in the end, messages, everyone is weird to some degree. As Makayla said, all three of us are weird, and probably so are all of you who are listening, watching, whatever you are doing. Okay, so now this is basically the whole reason I chose you two, and I wanted to have this podcast discussion with you because your story of how you guys became friends is the most interesting ever. But before we get to that, we are going to build a short guide on how to make friends. So 3 things, give me one.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
So just like a little insight of how you became friends. Like I remember the first day, like I just went up to her and I was like, can I have your phone number? I feel like the most important thing you need to do is find a way to connect to them, like even when you're not seeing each other. So like, I don't know, ask for their social media, ask for their phone number, email, whatever. Like if you want to email them, okay. But like find some way to connect to them. So like when you're at home, you can talk to them. When you're like on weekends, breaks, and if you don't see them that often, you can still talk to them. And I feel like texting or like calling or anything like that is really, really fun. And it's a good way to build connections like without talking face to face, which can be nerve wracking for some people. But like when you're on text, you can be as weird as you want. So yeah, definitely find a way to make that connection with them online or like on some degree of remote talking.
So did you just go up and ask for the number like right when you met? So basically, this guy just like that person is a complete stranger, and you
Oh,
go up to them, you just ask their number, or
oh
like
no.
that's
Okay,
I was not a complete stranger. She knew me before.
yeah, we knew each other before, but like we knew of each other, so we weren't friends. But if you're going up to a complete stranger first, like, hi, what's your name? Like, talk about common interests, and then like when you're about to say bye, be like, oh, hey, what's your phone number? Like, so we can keep in contact. Or so like at the end, like once you like warm up to each other.
warming up. Okay, Srinidhee, what's your second thing? Second thing on the list.
Definitely kind of just like, okay, you can't always expect people to come to you, right? I feel like that's something that I used to do a lot. Like when I was younger, I was really, really shy. So like I didn't want to approach people, but you're really not going to get to know anyone that way, right? So I feel like an important thing to keep in mind is kind of just like, going out there and like just connecting with them first. Like take the first step and like talk to them. Like Makayla asked me for my phone number immediately, like I obviously gave it to her, and then you can clearly see how that ended up. But
yeah,
like, yeah, so I guess I would just say like, don't be too scared, like what's the worst that can happen, right? They reject you, okay, move on.
I'm kind of trying to imagine how the rejection would work. You just say, "Can I have your phone number?" No.
And then just walk separate ways.
Okay. And then the third thing, I guess I would say be willing, be open to do things that the other person likes, even if you don't, and then share what you like so that they can probably participate or like that basically these are just ways to get to know each other. Okay, so now we have 3 things. to shorten them up, 1, communication. 2, Srinidhee, help me, please.
Approaching first.
Huh?
Approaching first.
Okay, approaching first. And 3, open up, I think. Okay, so those are the 3 things. Now, when you guys became friends, did you follow these rules?
Okay, so I'll kind of tell the story now. So
Yeah.
Trinity first came to elementary school in 5th grade, and she was a new kid, obviously. So, I wanted to make friends. So on the first day, I was like, hello, what's your name? And then like we said each other's names, but obviously we were very shy in 5th grade. And then like she seemed kind of like distant. So I was like, okay, I'm not getting good vibes from this girl. So I was friends with other people, and then she found her own friend group, and then we never talked again until we both got into Whitney in 7th grade. And then I don't know, it was kind of scary at first because like obviously we didn't know anybody, and we kind of just stuck with our own group from elementary school. So the first day I was like, hey, I know her. And then yeah, we just started talking like, I'm scared for school, blah, 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 like just common things. And then I was like, can I have your phone number? And then she wrote it on a post-it, and then she gave it to me. Yeah.
That's kind of cute. Okay. I'm wondering if Shindy has a different take on this. Like,
I was gonna say
quite
I have a
different.
different POV than Makayla.
Okay. What's yours?
Okay, let me make mine a little descriptive. Okay, so you're the new kid. You're in 5th grade, right? By this time, everyone's been friends since kindergarten. They've had 5-6 years experience, and maybe even earlier, right? Past kindergarten. Maybe like their moms were friends, their dads were friends. Okay, so as a 5th grade only child who hasn't really been connecting with a lot of people, who had to constantly move school to school every year and make new friends every year, it was kind of, yeah, it was really, 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 really nerve-wracking for me, right? So I was in a new environment, completely different people, new teachers, new school. I see Makayla, right? She looks like me. She looks like she was pretty shy back then too, right? It's like we had an interaction, like Makayla mentioned, but like look at it from my point of view, right? Makayla knows the school better. Makayla is not the new kid. So I was expecting like maybe a little more talking from her. Then maybe I would have opened up more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't work. We ended up being friends with different people, but in Whitney, I felt like it was kind of like a more of an immediate connection because we kind of like all the Leo kids were stuck together. So it was only me and Makayla and like a couple other Leo kids that I knew of. So it was like an immediate bond. So we kind of just started talking. She asked me for my phone number. I gave it to her. And then we kind of just, started texting, calling, and then it kind of became like a routine sort of. So like we'd always like text all day, and then every day, and then yeah, kind of just developed from there. We connected to a lot of things. So I kind of wish we, took that leap earlier, but I'm glad it still worked out.
Yeah, it definitely worked out. So now you two are best friends in the same group, and I always see you together. That's basically how I became friends with them. Now, I would say, I guess in general, we kind of followed the rules, kind of didn't. But the point is, there's not really specific guidelines to do different things. Like how they become friends took years, but now they're together. And okay, so I met them because we were all volunteering at a food bank. And all of a sudden, I think it was Makayla just tasted her phone and starts looking through TikToks, hiding behind all the food on the table. So she's trying to teach Srinidhee how to dance, and then both of them are like, "Oh, come join, come join." So then I end up doing my first TikTok, which I think it was just a draft, never actually went out. But anyways, yeah, that was the first time I met them in a situation where we're supposed to be volunteering. Technically, we were. It was in the beginning. We just finished setting up. So they were very welcoming. And then ever since that, I've just been seeing them around school. That's the perks of being in a small high school. Okay. So next thing is okay, this is the last example of kind of doing things right or wrong. So there are many roles that we might take on in and out of school. And by this, I kind of mean like cabinet positions or maybe being an ambassador of something. But we kind of, let's just say a secretary or a historian has a certain job in one club. Well, that doesn't mean that they do something different in another club. So, I guess the question is, what are there wrong ways to be a cabinet member? And so all three of us have done something this past year and we'll be doing something next year. So let's start with Makayla.
Yeah, so I've been involved in a lot of club cabinets over the years, and I feel like one of the most important things to remember too is rejection is okay. Like, for example, I've been rejected from a lot of club cabinets that I applied for, and even though it hurt in the moment, I realized that if I were to get that position, I wouldn't have been able to like fully like take it on and like maximize my time. Like, especially in high school, I know you're really busy, so I feel like it's okay to be rejected. You can just try again next time. But in terms of wrong ways to be a cabinet member, I feel like there definitely are. I've been in cabinet with people who like slack off, don't really do their work. And it's kind of frustrating, especially as a leader figure, to constantly remind these people and like have them not respond to you either. So it's kind of just like a repetitive cycle of like, when are you going to do your work? Like, you can't rely on other people to do all the work for you. And I definitely felt this way this year, or like junior year, with all of my cabinets. I feel like for some of my clubs, I was doing like a lot more work than I should be. But at the same time, I learned from these opportunities and I feel like I really grew as a leader. So next year, I'll be president of Chinese Club. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I feel like I've definitely learned a lot about what it takes to be a leader and just communicating with everyone in general.
Solid. Okay, so for Srinidhee, let's start with your cabinet position. So what club is it? What role? What are you supposed to be doing in this position? Start with that.
Okay, so for 9K homes, last year I was historian, this year I'm treasurer. So as historian, I didn't really need to do as much. Like, I did help out a lot more with like food sales and kind of like the fundraising part of it. And then this year as treasurer, I know treasurer is kind of a lot of work. Sometimes you can be really organized, really like diligent in your work. You want to make sure your calculations are correct. You don't, especially when you're dealing with like money, you don't want to like go wrong with anything. So I know that you need to be like a very very dedicated, very organized person. And in general, again, as Makayla mentioned, rejections do come and go. I've been rejected multiple times through organization, whether it be organizations, school clubs, I'm sure like other important things, maybe colleges when they come out. I'm not going to get into every college. I know I will get rejections, but it's part of life. And I think that you kind of just need to, take the hit, just take a deep breath, think about it, reflect on it, and then, just keep trying. And then one day you will reach where you want to go. So that's kind of my advice.
Yeah. So everyone said rejection, I would say take that as a reminder that it's a new opportunity. You have other things to do. So I also applied for multiple positions this year, and I didn't exactly get the ones I put as my first option, but I was a director of activities for Key Club, or for our school's volunteering club. And this year I'm not in the cabinet, but that's okay. I still got director of activities for the singing club. So my past experience definitely helped me land another role. I also, because I've gotten less work, I would say, well, not necessarily less, but just different roles. I was able to apply to start a club for next year, and that's what I'm definitely going to spend a lot of time on, psych club. So that'll be fun. And I guess what I would say is So the purpose of taking on a role is to improve, which means possible change. So in if you see it that way, then there's really no wrong way other than slacking off. Okay, I get that. That's not a thing that you want as a cabinet member, to put all that work on someone else, or to feel like you're not doing your work up to the expectations. But basically, I see a cabinet role, once you join it, your purpose is to change it. You want to make it to its fullest potential. Okay, so that was all we had for today. Basically, any last thoughts or anything you want to share, both of you?
One last statement from me is it's okay to do things the wrong way, and you kind of just have to embrace it. You're gonna make mistakes in life, and it's gonna hurt really bad. You're gonna cry, you're gonna scream, you're gonna like feel all the emotions, especially if you're like a student or you're like going into a new job or anything like that. Like it's gonna be hard, but a part of life is growing up, making mistakes and learning from them. So definitely just embrace who you are and talk to your friends, your family. Yeah.
Srinidhee, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I like to go off of that. So kind of just going back to the whole topic of being like, embrace your weirdness, be that unique self that you are. And life is a roller coaster, there'll be ups and downs. It's like Sour Patch. Life will be sour at one point, but then sweet. So kind of just keep pushing through and doing, putting your best and hard work into everything that you do. And, only good outcomes will come. And life, is full of different chapters. You're going to step into one every day is going to be a new adventure. So kind of just, keep your mind open and positive, and yeah, everything will be well.
Okay, I'll keep my last words short. Kind of be that Sour Patch Kid. Live in the moment. You're only a kid for so long. You're going to keep going up, keep experiencing things. So exactly what both of them said, embrace who you are. And that's all we have for today. So thank you for joining us.
Bye, everyone.